All right, let me just get set up here. Let's get my heart rate monitor going. And I'm going to get the main workout going here too. There we go. All right, so it's been about a week, almost a week actually, since my last workout. And actually, since the last video I've done of last one of these types of videos. Things just got a little bit busy with Redline over the weekend. Got a lot of testing done. A lot of people needing last minute tests for BC sheriffs. We had a huge testing day on Saturday for SPS. And then Sunday I had to cover for some training in the evening time, and then my kid got sick. So, or at least he was battling a fever. So yeah, I just didn't really have, it was hard to try to fit in something since last Thursday. Which is all right. I factor that into my training. So today, I already finished up a strength workout earlier. Now, obviously, I'm on the airdyne now. I'm gonna do about a minute and a half. Oops. Sorry, not a minute and a half. I got a minute and a half left, roughly, till my warm-up's done. Warm-up is about 3 minutes right now. Then I'm gonna go into 6 sets of 1 minute hard, and then 3 minutes easy. So I did something similar in the last workout that I did in the last video, where I went 1 minute hard, 2 minutes easy. I did 8 sets of that. I think I kind of went a bit overboard on that one, so I'm doing something a little bit different, giving myself more rest time. Still going to push it. Now, what's different is I'm on the airdyne, whereas last time I was on my indoor trainer, so it's going to feel a little bit different. Probably a little bit harder. So I have a feeling I'm going to push it, knowing that I'm not doing as many sets as I did last week, and knowing that I'm giving myself more rest time. I'm going to push it just a tad bit more, but not so much that I can't maintain the same performance. Like, I'll have to work harder for the performance as I progress in this workout, but I don't want to be to the point where I'm thinking at the end, oh my god, when's this ever going to end? Got about another 15 seconds here. So I think speed-wise on here, I want to try to push it at 26 or so for the minute. Here we go. Yeah, I don't want to try to drop below 26. I want to try to maintain above 26 if I can, and adjust from there. And then on the easy, it's going to go easy. I don't care if I drop below 20 miles an hour. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I was around low 26, low to mid 26. I'd say mostly low, like 26.3 or so for most of that one. But keep it around there for now. And now, these 3 minutes, I'm just gonna go very easy. I'm not pushing the pace. Just keep the legs moving. Right now, my speed's around 17, so probably keep it around there. Unlike when I'm doing the intervals, where I'm doing 2 minutes on, 1 minute off, I'm purposely trying to stay above 20 during the minute off. Part of the reasoning, I guess the rationale for that is, yeah, I'm pushing hard on the 2 minutes, but not so hard that I really got to recover in that 1 minute. So still kind of almost not keeping things aerobic necessarily, but it's almost like an extended aerobic power workout, if you will. Now, I'm probably not using the terms right, but around the second set, I'm going to keep it around what I did first run, low 26 to mid 26, and then adjust from there. Either try to maintain it to the last two, or see if I can push it just a bit more from sets 3 onward. So I mentioned earlier that I did strength workout before this. Did a trap bar deadlift, paired that with push-ups, body weight only for the push-ups, and then gone back to the reverse lunges, alternating reverse lunges. I kind of went away from that a bit because of the hip flexor. Now my hip flexor still there. I'm still feeling it, but I made some adjustments into how my technique was for the reverse lunges. At least when I was stepping back with my left leg, I wasn't stepping back all that much, because what I found is if I step back too much and I try to stand up, I tend to involve the hip flexor a bit too much. It gets a bit aggravated. But when it's more like a single leg squat with very minimal support from the back leg and having my back leg closer to the front leg, it wasn't so bad. All right, 5 more seconds here. Here we go. So because today's strength was, most of my strength workouts are leg heavy relative. We'll see how the legs feel by the end of this one. All right, 2 sets done. That one actually was pushed a little bit more. I was pushing 20, almost 27 most of the time, which is okay. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you need that first set to kind of get out of the way, and then on the second set, kind of get a little bit more of that speed without it necessarily feeling like you put that much more effort to get the speed. Which is why it's always important to warm up beforehand. All right, that first set, even though it was part of my working set, I don't want to say it was a warm-up, but to some degree, it kind of is a warm-up. Because now that my body knows what to expect, I can really get into the workout from sets 2 onwards. So this is not uncommon, at least for me anyway, but I've seen it with others as well, where first set it's all right. They kind of feel like they're worked a bit, but because they got the recovery in between, by the time they get to the second set, they're pushing it and they get a little faster without necessarily realizing it. Of course, this is assuming that they didn't go too hard on the first set. So just going back to what I was talking about in the warm-up, well, how does this relate? When we do a warm-up, we're properly priming our body to be ready for the high intensity. So the logic of, oh, I'm going to take my warm-up easy because I want to conserve energy, it's a false logic. You're actually not conserving any kind of energy. Because by the time you start going hard, you actually have to work harder to do hard, if that makes sense. The way I try to describe it is, if you, and we'll just use the pull pat as the example. If you're not warming up for the pull pat, you're basically trying to go from 0 to 60. And when you're trying to go from 0 to 60, that means you have to accelerate very quickly to get up to 60 as fast as possible. And that means a lot of energy to get to that point. But if you properly warm up, you're essentially hitting the ground running by the time you have to test. Instead of starting from 0, you're starting at 30. It's a lot easier to go from 30 to 60 than it is from 0 to 60. So do not think you're conserving energy by doing the bare minimum or not doing a warm-up. All right, set number 3. Since I've been pushing on 27, I don't want to drop below 27 on this set. And that'll be the goal for the remainder sets. Keep above 27, which is going to require a little bit more focus. Oh. So I got my heart rate monitor on right now. Right now it's got me in the high 170s by the end of that set. Yeah, that's about right. So my heart rate monitor is actually measuring things correctly today. There's some days it's completely off, and I know it. But the day seems to be about right. Although the purpose of today isn't to be in any kind of particular heart rate range anyway. I mean, with the set that I'm doing, 1 minute, it's not really, the set itself alone is not long enough to glean anything from the heart rate. It's just more of a nice to know. Ultimately, what's more important is, can I maintain the performance, the speed that I set out for today? So I was able to hold at least 27 throughout most of that set. I got 3 more sets to go. I'm going to still aim to do minimum 27. But I have a feeling I could push it a bit more. But I don't want to get overzealous with this one. Or for any Star Wars fans out there, don't get cocky. Yeah, because I'm thinking with the, I've already rested 2 minutes. I got another minute here for rest. I could have just gone right now, but I haven't done this particular workout on the airdyne, so again, I don't want to get overzealous with this. So my heart rate's dropped down to mid 140s right now, which for me is pretty light. Okay, 10 more seconds here. Keep it above 27. Let's see if I can keep it above 27 and a half. This is set number 4. Whew. Okay, that one I was feeling. Partly because accumulation of fatigue, but I was pushing on that one. I was closer to 28 on most sets there. And my heart rate got up to about 180. But I imagine if I try to keep pushing that pace for another minute, minute and a half, wow, easy into the 190s, I would say. So 3 sets done. Sorry, 4 sets done. 2 more to go. As you can see, I'm wearing my Habs shirt. I am a Habs fan for life, even though I haven't been paying attention to the NHL all that much in the last however many years. But I was born in Montreal, Point Claire. I was young when I left Montreal. I was, what, 7 years old or so. So to be honest, there's a lot of memories of Montreal that's already faded, but I still got memories. But most of my life I've grown up in BC. And I'd consider myself a West Coast boy more than anything. Doesn't mean I'm going to be cheering for Canucks though. At least not when Montreal's in town. Still going to be Habs fan for life. That's why it was such a surprise when they made it to the Cup. What was that, the first COVID year, second COVID year? Didn't see that one coming. Didn't expect them to win it. It was certainly fun watching them get to that point. Yeah, I was 7, well, we've been turning 8 when I left Montreal. And I lived in Toronto for about a year before making my way out to BC. And actually, even when I got to BC, didn't stay all that long because me and my family ended up doing a sailing trip to Mexico for almost a year. And then it was after that Mexico trip that we finally settled. Settled in BC. It's Watson. That's where I grew up as a kid. Sunny to Watson. Alright, I'm on my last 2 sets here. I'm going to try to push high 27s, low 28s. Halfway through the set. That one I was feeling. Looked like my heart rate peaked at 183 on that one. That one I pushed. Most of it I was between 28 and 25, 20.5, so that was a good one. So I'll do one more set, and then I'm cooling down. I've grown to love the airdyne bike more and more these past few months of training. Oh man, I got 4 more months to attempt a 240 for the Popat. It's already gone by fast. It's what I started in January. It's at the halfway point already. I would have wanted to run the Popat sometime this week, but I'm not going to attempt another Popat run until I'm more confident in my hip flexor. So airdyne's nice. So I haven't been doing much in the way of running, at least hard running. I can do some easy runs, but if I want intensity, it's going to have to come from the airdyne here or my indoor trainer on my bike. This is a nice way to get intensity into my cardio, again, because I'm not having to aggravate my hip flexor as much, but it's non-impact. So if I need to get more intensity without having to do high impact stuff, I'll take that any day. I mean, I come from a running background, so it doesn't take too much to be able to build up my capacity for running in general. So I would say I'm relatively fine-tuned with my running abilities. So if I want more intensity, then this is how I'm going to get it. Something non-impact, like this one, or an indoor trainer. Or if I had a rower, I'd probably use a rower as well. All right, coming up to the final one here. Come on. Oh, that one was pushed. Oh, heart rate peaked at 188 there. And you can see how I'm recovering right now. I already pushed that one. Versus first 3 sets or so. So I think next time I do this workout, instead of starting around 26, I'll try to stick closer to 27. Now on this last set, I was pushing 29, at least 29 throughout the set. I don't think I want to go 29 right from the get-go. At least on the first set, I'll try to keep it around 27 and 28, and then maybe 29 the rest of the way. That one is definitely worked. I mean, I worked for the last two, but definitely worked on that last one. I think I can hold. I think I can hold mid 27, high or mid 27 to low 28 for most sets. Then maybe the last two, that's where I start pushing around 29 or so. But I got a mental model in my head now of how this would go. So I'm going to use that next time I do this particular workout. I got numbers I can use to work off of. This is why it's always good to keep track of your workouts, not just go based on feel or just even heart rate. I mentioned earlier my heart rate monitor, it's actually measuring things correctly today, but there's times it's not even, it's way off. Like, I know I'm doing 180 beat per minute effort, and yet for some reason it's registering 100. So this is why you can't always rely on heart rate, at least heart rate monitor. And even if you were to just measure it yourself in the middle of the set, why would you take your focus away from the work just to see where your heart rate is at? Your focus should be on the work itself. So that's why on here I got speed that I can use to gauge my effort. Because what's nice about the airdyne is there's no gears to have to switch. I don't have to remember what gear I'm on either. I just know the harder I go, the faster I go on here, but also the harder I work for it. So speed, I mean, I can also use, there's other metrics here I can use, like calories, watts, RPM. I would probably end up using watts as one of my other factors, other metrics if I were to use it, but speed, I can wrap my head around speed, so I use speed as my metric. When I was on my indoor trainer, I just use my my RPM, my cadence on the bike to kind of gauge the, not so much the effort level itself, but something to relate my effort level to. Conditioning training, it's not just go hard. If you're just going hard but you got nothing to, no numbers to attach to it, I don't want to say it's useless, but just going based on feel is not enough. It's good to be in tune with your body. That's not what I'm trying to say. I mean, I always advocate that you gotta listen to your body. You gotta know when you can push it, when you gotta hold back. But it's also good to at least have an idea of what the numbers are related to it as well. So I'm on the cool down mode now. Got just over a minute before before this is all done. Well, I hope that I hope you're able to get something out of this video. I mean, if you stuck with me till this point, thank you. I mean, it is a longish video. You're basically watching me work out for half an hour, but at least I'm able to try to drop some knowledge for you while I work out. Knowledge in terms of training, knowledge in terms of why I'm doing what I'm doing. So if you got any questions about my training or in regards to the POPAT test or a pair test, whichever physical test you're doing, just let me know. All right, workout done. Drop a comment below. You can also email me at marc@oralconditioning.ca. I always try to do my best to reply as promptly as possible. But yeah, Any questions you got, just let me know. So until next time, have a good one, y'all.